everyone, it's Olga. I hope that you're doing well. Over here where I am, it's like raining like crazy. It's super mellow. I wanted to review some books, and you know what goes well with mellow rainy days? Tea right here for a more ambient mood. I got some candles. Don't play with fire, kids. I also brought my cat Yoda. Say hi to the camera, Yoda.
Are you sick of this shit? Yeah, why?
So today I wanted to review the books that I've been reading this summer. This summer I challenged myself to read one book, at least one book, every week, and I went through a lot of okay books. I kind of had to force myself to just finish these books, or at least read halfway through it. I'm not going to share the okay books that I read with you guys because they're not worth it, obviously, but I am going to share the best books that I read this summer, and I highly recommend that you guys also read them because they were really good. And let's get started. I read this book called Pachinko. This book is so good. It felt super authentic, unlike Memoirs of a Geisha, Fight Me. It's about a Korean family, or more of a Korean woman, that immigrates to Japan in the early 1900s, and they go through all the crap. And it doesn't just follow one character, it follows all of the grandchildren and children of this one immigrant. I really recommend this book. I love Barnes & Noble, but I think it's super overpriced. Like, come on, why do you have to pay 20 bucks for a single paperback book? It's not even a hardback book, it's a paperback book. I had a really hard time getting my hands on Pachinko at the local library because it is a bestseller. I was like, I'm gonna buy this book, I'm gonna read it, and I'm gonna return it. I didn't want to bend this spine, so I would be like, but I ended up really liking it. I ended up keeping it because I think I took it to the pool or something. That's a dumb move, but I don't mind keeping it, and I ended up lending it to some of my friends. So I highly recommend this book. If you don't read anything else, read Pachinko. It's so good. No, it's really hot. The next book that I wanted to recommend is, I can't pronounce her name, guys. I'm so sorry. It's I Am Malala. I think this is a really good book. I've heard a lot about it. It's basically an autobiography by this girl. Her dad encourages her to keep going to school, and she loves going to school. She wants to go to school. But unfortunately, the Taliban comes and screws up life for them. But the beginning of the book is what got me hooked, and it's definitely a very interesting perspective. I think this is a good book that kind of like makes you take a step back and be like, my education is so important. You know, there are girls out there in other countries that can't get an education, like they're literally being shot in the head. So this was a really good book that kind of gives you a different perspective on education, and also I love non-Western perspectives. The next book that I wanted to recommend to you guys was Murder on Orient Express. This is a classic. It's written by Agatha Christie. It is a classic, and a classic for a good reason. Obviously, it is a mystery novel. I've read Sherlock Holmes. It's good, but I think that the language is too dry, and when classics have a dry language, it's kind of a turnoff. But Murder on Orient Express is very easy to read. It has a really interesting plot. I figured out one of the clues before the main detective did, and I was like, wow. The next book that I wanted to talk about was Outliers, and I've seen this author, Malcolm Gladwell. I've seen this author everywhere. Okay, I'm usually not into self-help or like philosophy books. Like Candide is it's the worst thing ever. I hate Candide. It was about how successful people had these kind of factors that help them become successful, which I think is really interesting to read. Also kind of inspiring. There was a quote that I really liked.
If you work hard enough and assert yourself and use your mind and imagination, you can shape the world to your desires.
The last book that I wanted to recommend is another autobiography. It was called Blue Collar, Blue Scrubs. It's basically about this guy. Okay, the first like 40 pages, I was so bored because it was like this guy. He's either like a lumberjack or like a K-miner or something, and he's just like talking about his like boring, repetitive but chill life where he works all the time, and all of a sudden he's like, I want to be a doctor. And he got his bachelor's in English, and he took no science classes, no math classes when he was in college. And so he's like, oh crap, I want to be a doctor, but I haven't taken like chemistry, biology, all of those pre-med classes. And so he like goes to community college, he works his butt off, so mad respect. And then I won't spoil. Okay, I guess this is a spoiler, but he barely gets into med school. Like, he gets into med school near the last people of his class. He's one of the last people of his class to get into med school, but mad props to him. I love this author. Once I got through like the lumberjack days, this book really inspiring, and it can show you that, I mean, not necessarily for just being a doctor, but like if you want to be anything, you just got to put your mind to it, you got to work your butt off, but you can do it. This guy did it. And so I hope that you guys will try out these book recommendations. I tried to pick out things that were in fiction and nonfiction at the same time. If you guys have a different opinion than me, comment down below, because I'd love to hear your opinions. And if you guys have any other book recommendations, just spread the love. Give some good book recommendations down below. And so I hope that you guys have a really good day, a really good summer, and bye! I'll see ya!